What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Guns N' Roses True Story, and today we're doing probably one of the most highly requested songs I've gotten, and that one is Locomotive. Now, Locomotive is one of Guns N' Roses' longest songs. It's featured on Use Your Illusion 2, and it's the 9th track on the album, and it was written by Axl and Slash. Now, the song was actually written around late 1988-89. According to Slash's book, he says that he actually wrote the song in a house that he had rented in the Hollywood Hills with Izzy, and they had wrote both Coma, and the two of them also wrote Locomotive in that house. He said there was a lot of creativity going on around that time. The reason I say it was around late 1988-89 is because he says around the same time they filmed the music video for Patience, and that music video was filmed around Valentine's Day 1989. Interestingly enough, Duff also was credited as playing percussion on the track as well. Now, Axl did some open chats with fans back in 2008 when Chinese Democracy first came out, and he disputed some of Slash's claims in his book. He said, yes, Slash was in Guns and on Jungle, and the whole I came to him for his riff is as much crap as him saying he brought Locomotive and Coma in as complete songs, and he has the rights to perform it, but not to be represented in this context in association with Guns, and since they weren't granted the license, it'll take some sorting out. And Slash was actually interviewed online, and he was briefly asked about the songwriting on the Illusions records. He was asked, on the Illusions records, you're the only person who doesn't have a sole songwriting credit. I guess that speaks to your ADD. He said, right, like Coma and Locomotive and Bad Apples, those songs I wrote the music, and that's the way it was. There wasn't a lot of outside writing on those particular tunes. Now, Axl did an interview with Rolling Stone magazine back in 1992 at a show in Las Vegas. It was the exact same show where Slash met his second wife, Perla. And he was actually asked about the song. He said, they were asked, what about the songs that are perceived as misogynist? A lot of these people see songs like Back Off Bitch and Locomotive as a reflection of your current views on women. To which Axl responded, yeah, and that's wrong, and I can understand that, because the records just came out, but Back Off Bitch is a 10-year-old song. I've been doing a lot of work and found out that I've had a lot of hatred for women. Basically, I've been rejected by my mother since I was a baby. She picked my stepfather over me since he was around and watched me get beaten by him. She stood back most of the time unless it got too bad, and she'd come and hold you afterwards. She wasn't there for me. My grandmother had a problem with men. I've gone back and done the work and found out I overheard my grandma going off on men when I was 4, and I've had problems with my own masculinity because of that. I was pissed off at my grandmother for her problem with men and how it made me feel about being a man, so I wrote about my feelings in those songs. And then Gilby Clarke and Slash actually did an interview with Guitar World magazine in 1992. The issue is called Trial by Fire, and Gilby was asked about what his favorite song is to play, and he said, oddly enough, Coma, I really love playing it because it's different every time. I also like Pretty Tied Up and Locomotive. I like playing the fast, hard ones. And then the song is actually referenced in Mick Wald's new book, Last of the Giants, so here's the passage where they actually talk about it. So Doug Goldstein, Guns' former manager, talks about the song. He said, nobody talks about the brilliance of Axl Rose as the song creator, says Goldstein. They talk about Guns N' Roses as being this incredible band, yet who fucking put the thing together? Granted, I was with Slash and Duff when they were writing the music for Use Your Illusion, and Locomotive and Coma, they were doing that shit without Axl's participation. But I get these phone calls from the studio, and Axl would say, I fucking hate Slash. Have you heard the song Locomotive yet? How the fuck am I supposed to write lyrics to this shit? I'd go, hey man, I don't know. That's your gig, right? I do the management, you do the songwriting. And according to setlist.fm, Locomotive has been played a total of 5 times. They say 6 because they count Mate's Rehearsal Studio as a live performance, which wasn't really a concert they played. So they've played a total of 5 times during the Use Your Illusion tour. It was supposed to be played a 6th time during a concert that Guns played in Paris. It was the pay-per-view concert that everybody knows from 1992. Jeff Beck was supposed to join the band on stage to play Locomotive. There's actually rehearsal footage of them playing the song, with no Axl, of course. But sadly, while Jeff was rehearsing with the band, he was actually standing a little too close to Matt Sorum's drum kit, and when Matt hit the actual crash cymbal, I guess he had some issue with his hearing. He suffers from tinnitus, which a lot of musicians suffer from. It's basically like a perception of noise or ringing in the ears. It actually affects 1 in 5 people, so unfortunately they weren't able to actually perform Locomotive at that concert. But I've actually linked to the performance, like the actual rehearsal footage, if you guys want to see it. Go hit the description box down below. And then I've also linked as all the live performances I could find online. So all the performances from 1991 when they played in Inglewood, they played in Mountain View, California in 91, and then they played Madison Square Garden, as well as the last live performance from Tokyo, Japan in 1992. And we've got two demos of the songs. We got a demo with Sorum on the drums, which is basically the instrumental of the song that you hear on the actual album, minus the vocals. And then there's the full Mates rehearsal demo, which features Steven Adler on drums. So if you guys want to see how the song sounded with two different drummers, you can listen to it down below in the description box. And then we have an interview with Marc, who is one of the band's close personal friends and a really good friend with Slash. He did an interview with legendaryrockinterviews.com, which I've linked to down below. He was asked the question, they of course made the universe laugh by firing Steven for drugs, and I was wondering what your opinion was on what he brought to the band and how the band changed after he left. Did he have a certain style that was hard to replace? And he said it was so 360 on the swing groove stuff on Appetite and required less rock and roll and more technical drumming, referring to the Illusions albums. He said which was more suited to a drummer like Sorum. If you listen to a song like Locomotive, it sort of makes sense what Nevin was saying. It almost got this Unreal Machine type of feel to it. Of course, some of the songs like Don't Cry were older, and he could have easily performed those, but on many of the songs, the groove had changed, and the songwriting was a totally different beast. Now, several pieces of literature have actually referenced the song Locomotive. Spin magazine, this is an issue from 1999. They had done an article about an air guitar competition in the UK, and these are some pictures from the article. And one of the songs performed at the air guitar competition, of course, was Sweet Child of Mine, but another one that somebody actually played was Locomotive as well. Now, if you guys want to read the article, I've linked to it down below. It's only a preview, but you at least can get a sense of what the article was about. And then it was also referenced in a book called Finding Myself, A Soldier's Recovery from Betrayal, Embattlement, and Divorce by Daniel Wilt Jr. There's a section in the book where I don't know if it's because the book's only a preview, where they actually list the song. Maybe it's one of his favorite songs or some of the songs that actually helped him get through some tough times. And then the final book that actually references Locomotive, book called The Science Behind the Secret, Decoding the Law of Attraction. Now, there's a little passage in the book where they use some of the lyrics from the song. They actually use a bunch of lyrics from different famous bands like Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith, and they sort of relate it to the law of attraction and the science behind the secret. And then coincidentally enough, when Duff was working on his solo project Loaded in 2002, he put out an album called Dark Days. It was actually distributed by a record label in Europe called Locomotive. So if you guys look at the actual list of best Guns N' Roses songs, or from all the Guns N' Roses songs ranked from worst to best, it ranked number 4 on Spin.com's list. So they compared all of Guns N' Roses' work, whereas Guitar World basically compared just the Illusion songs. It ranked a little bit lower on the list, number 8, but they still said that the song has some great lyrics into it. I think it's a high ranking primarily for the lyrical content. Of course, a few Slash solos don't hurt the case either. Now, there's a fantastic cover of this song. It's an acoustic cover by Gareth Rhodes. This guy does a ton of great Guns N' Roses covers. You know, he sort of reimagines the Guns N' Roses songs in a way you maybe wouldn't have thought of hearing. So I've linked to the video down below. You guys can go check it out. And then finally, the last thing I want to leave you guys with is that the actual song Locomotive is featured in the beginning of the Guns N' Roses special that they shot in Athens, Greece in 1993. I've linked to this down below too. It's basically just, I think it's about 30 minutes, and it's about just basically the members of Guns N' Roses minus Axl on a yacht touring the Greek islands, talking about some music videos, and just basically hanging out. So it's a pretty cool video. That does it for my look at the song Locomotive from Use Your Illusion 2. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know your thoughts down below. What did you enjoy the most? What did you learn that maybe you didn't know before? And did I miss anything? If I missed anything, let me know in the comment section. What song would you guys like me to do next? Let me know. And that does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching, and make sure you subscribe for the latest Guns N' Roses news. And be sure to follow me on Twitter at Guns N' Roses Daily. I will follow you guys back. Take care.